All right, now let's discuss this. We are now joined via Teams by Visvin Reddy, People Against Petrol and Paraffin Increases chairperson. Thank you so much for your time, Visvin. So what's your reaction, to this latest price hike, which many have described as the last straw in the lives of economically strained South Africans?
This is certainly the last straw. In fact, it's catastrophic for every South African. What is happening? This is the third consecutive increase in fuel prices in South Africa, which brings fuel prices to the highest it's ever been in recorded history. And I think it spells disaster for every South African, irrespective of whether you're a motorist and own a car or not. I think what we need to understand is that when fuel prices go up, especially the cost of diesel, it means that food prices, the cost of living, everything goes up. And right now, our economy country is so bad that it's going to be difficult to be able to make ends meet for the ordinary South African. It's going to be bad for the middle income earners, but even worse for those that are living in dire poverty. Your public transport also goes up. So all it does is it spells complete disaster for the majority of South Africans. Now, we are frankly quite sick and tired. South Africans, the people of South Africa, are sick and tired of hearing the same excuse from this government time and time again, that it's all about the value of the rand against the dollar, it's about the crude oil prices and so on. But what we fail to realize is that this is being mismanaged, shall I say, by the Western countries, OPEC in particular. Right now, the dollar is at an all-time low internationally, so they need to strengthen the dollar. And the way to do that is to increase the price of crude oil, because we're buying crude oil in dollars and not in rands. Now, what we need here is a government that's innovative, a government that can think out of the box. And unfortunately, we don't have that in this country, because if we had a government that could think out of the box, we would start using our BRICS platform to start buying our crude oil from countries like Russia and Iran. Now, let's look at India. India, because of pressure from its citizens, it was forced to break away from the OPEC cartel and start buying fuel from Russia and from Iran. In fact, in the last financial year, the largest fuel supplier to India was actually Russia. And the reason the Indian government was forced to do this and break away from the Americas and the OPEC mafia was simply because of the pressure that the people in India put on their government.
Visvin,
so right now, the situation looks bleak.
Yeah, Visvin, let's bring it closer to home. So you've, of course, mentioned very pertinent drivers that, are obviously to blame for the impact that we are currently seeing in as far as fuel is concerned. One of the, the reasons we are seeing this higher than predicted fuel hike is also the implementation of a 30 cents per litre slate levy. Now, in as far as government is concerned, and you talk about creative ways in which they can curb this, what do you suggest?
It is absolutely insane. It is a slap and a kick in the teeth of every South African motorist for this government, over and above the increases that it's imposed, to also include a 30 cents slate tax.
Levy, yeah.
Now, that was not necessary. Remember, we are paying 40% of every litre goes towards government taxes. The government collects 40% of every litre of petrol that we buy. And that money is going into government spending, and we read about corruption in government. That's where all the money is. Right now, there's an election coming up next year, and if President Ramaphosa is hoping to try and win the confidence and support of South Africans, he needs to get out of this group that's holding him, where he's become a puppet to big monopoly industry. Get out of that and start saying, I'm putting the people of South Africa first. Because if he does that, he will remove the taxes. The country collects 96 billion rands in taxes from fuel. Remove the taxes entirely and collect that from a super tax that's imposed on a monopoly industry listed on the JSE. And currently, there's trillions of rands in reserves that's on the JSE that can be taxed and can bring in that money into state coffers. But unfortunately, the government is not doing that because many of our ANC leaders are themselves compromised and involved in these fuel companies. And that is the reason why the people of South Africa continue to pay the price. We need a government that is concerned more with the people rather than themselves. And this is the reason why in the next coming weeks and coming months, there will be rolling mass action. I am not shying away from this fact. I am informing you and informing the nation that the people of South Africa have frankly had enough. We've had enough of excuses and the inability of incompetent leaders to be able to take us out of this financial crisis and ruin that we find ourselves in South Africa at present.
Visvin, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, that is Visvin Reddy from the People Against Petrol and Paraffin Increases, saying that they will be taking action against this latest petrol or fuel hike rather. They've also promised that they will be drafting up some form of a charter that will pave the way for less fuel hikes that we've been seeing in the country. Let's hope so.